Hey, welcome back. It's Nico from the band Whorticulture, and today we're going to be diving into the lyrics of our new song, Within Without. We can live within. We can live without. We can live within. We can live without. It's probably pretty easy to tell if you watch the lyric video and if you've seen the cover graphic of the song. But Within Without is very much themed metaphorically after the buildup of a storm. I had this visual of sort of standing on a hill and seeing this storm way in the distance. You can see the clouds starting to get darker and darker, and you can see them like rolling towards you, and in the distance you can see what it looks like when the rain comes down, which looks like kind of like a mist or a fog in the distance coming out of the clouds. You're like, oh, it's starting to get bad, and you can see lightning coming down and the wind is picking up. And the way I felt was sort of helpless. This feeling of helplessness, the feeling of powerlessness, that I had nowhere to go. I had nothing I could do about this storm, right? I mean, it's nature. We have nothing we can do about that kind of thing. But metaphorically speaking, that's how this felt when I listened to this song and when I was writing the lyrics for it. So I had a very, very strong visual in my mind of what I wanted to get across emotionally. Again, that feeling of being kind of stuck and you have no choice but to deal with these things that are coming your way, something in life that is going to kick your fucking ass, basically, in some way, shape, or form. Some event. It could be something dealing with another person or other people. It could be something you're trying to get over. But I've had many moments, and I'm assuming you probably have as well, in which it feels like we're sort of trapped. And you have nothing you can do beyond just basically brace yourself for the oncoming shitstorm of life that's about to happen to you. Yes, very pessimistic, yeah? Very, very negative sounding. And that was the point. That was the feeling I was trying to get across. And I'm not trying to say that that's exactly where I'm at right now in my life. I have done a lot of work to try to improve my mindset and not be quite as bitter and negative and pessimistic as I used to be, which was quite a bit. But I'm tapping into that sort of moment in time, or moments in time in which I would feel that. So, as I said, this is the visual I had when I was writing the lyrics for this song. Actually, I was just going to start with the lyrics, but let me go back a little bit. I'm just reading the lyrics. Let me go back and find, there it is. So, in a few videos back, I talked about this idea of using word clouds to help extract meaning and words and sentences and phrases that you want to use for lyrics. I hope that is something that could be helpful for people, because it was helpful for me. If that sounds interesting to you, there's a video about using word clouds for lyrics back. If you want to check that out, go for it. Entirely up to you, not required. Anyway, so I did that same process with this. So as I said, I wrote down a lot of those visuals that I had for this song. Storm and helplessness. I wrote things like an urgency, storm clouds rushing towards while handcuffed to a tree. That's very specific. Now, I didn't write anything about being handcuffed to a tree, but that was me trying to get this metaphor. Like I felt like I was trapped, like I was chained or something, or, and like, oh God, here comes this. You just brace and it's coming at you. But so I wrote that sentence down. Things about feeling helpless, about the future, powerless, a necessary evil of some sort maybe, basic survival, obligations, feeling trapped, doing things you hate but you need to do, no choice. And a point of view I wrote down here. I said it's spoken, maybe it's spoken to the storm, metaphorically, that I would be saying so from the point of view that I'm sort of like, you're yelling at basically circumstance. You're yelling at fate, if you will, if you want to word it that way. And then I, broke it down into a lot of these, and you can see some of this stuff here. Broke it down into a lot of words, phrases, no other way, damned if I do, damned if I don't, no options. But I had, so you can see there's, well, you can't see. I can see it because I'm holding the piece of paper. There's some phrases that already started to come out that ended up in the final lyrics. Like I have suffered to survive, ended up in there. Let's see, Stockholm Syndrome. Interesting, that didn't make it. Time has eroded my defiance. That's actually kind of cool to see that I just wrote that down. I wouldn't have guessed that would have been something that I would have written down. I would have figured that's something that I would have like struggled over a bunch and finally sorted it out. But apparently that popped into my head. So yeah, and then I had that phrase that we can't live within and we can't live without. Pretty early on. I think I might even had that during the demo writing phase. So that might have even been there before I started writing lyrics. That I already had that line. And it felt right. And that's partly where the chorus lyric comes in. This idea that you don't want to do these things, or you don't want to be part of these things because they cause you some form of suffering, pain, frustration, irritation, anger, depression, anxiety, whatever it is, fear, dread. I'll just keep naming names. And here's another list of words. In this particular situation, in the way this one I was talking about, this particular song, you also can't be without it, right? It's like the chorus lyrics, of course, we can't live within, we can't live without. And that's where that push and pull aspect to this song exists, where it's terrible and you hate it, but you need it. It's kind of like, being, again, trapped in, let's say, hypothetically, or maybe literally, hypo-literally, a job that you absolutely hate. Or maybe you've been in a time in your life where you've had a really unhappy relationship. But you felt at that time that you also couldn't leave. There was no other choice. In your mind, at that time, and I keep having to specify this because there's always another choice, but sometimes we feel like there's no other way. We have to stay in this thing that hurts us because the alternative is even worse. So you're unhappy with it and you're going to be unhappy without it. So it's a lose-lose, right? And that's what this song really is about emotionally. It's about, in a metaphorical sort of way, with this whole storm thing and this visual aspect of seeing it coming toward you, and here's the shit that I got to deal with. Simultaneously, again, it's also this thing that you're trapped in, but you somehow need it. But then there's a final element, in addition to sort of the fate and the metaphor of the oncoming storm and powerlessness and all this, and sort of this dance between you don't want to be there, but you can't be without it at the same time, that we end most of the verses with, I think all of them actually, with "we are to blame." And so there's also fingers pointing at the self. And of course, I'm big on the idea of personal responsibility. I think that's really important. But this is, to me, it's taking personal responsibility into a negative direction. And it's going too far in this particular case. It's a very accusational, like self-accusational statement to make. And as I said, there's a lot of good actually in learning to own up to your choices and decisions that you make in life and realize how that creates your current situation and how that creates your current outcomes. But if you're constantly blaming yourself for everything in a negative way and not learning a positive lesson from it, to learning how to grow, learning how to be better, and sort of painting these blanket pictures of yourself as being bad and you suck and fuck, I guess I messed up and everything's terrible now. I guess I did this to myself. Like I always do. That's the kind of attitude that this is. This is not a healthy "we are to blame," like, oh yeah, mistakes were made. Let's learn from them. Let's get better. This is you know, I suck, everything sucks, I'm terrible. You know, I guess I deserve this punishment, I deserve this suffering. I hate it, and yet simultaneously, to be without it would be somehow worse. You feel happier now? You feel uplifted about within, without? I know I sure do. What a lovely talk, friend. Say, we should do this more often with these happy, uplifting conversations about lyrics, huh? Well, Anyway, thank you for spending time with me. I do appreciate it. Hopefully there was something interesting in there, and there will be more videos in the future talking about this song and future songs, in addition to, hopefully, if we can lift quarantine anytime soon, delving into the actual mix of the song and breaking it apart and showing you some of that stuff in time. So hopefully in a few weeks we'll be able to get a video out on that too, because I think that'll be kind of fun. So anyway, thank you again, and I will see you next time. Bye.